This menu is accessed by connecting your all-one camera directly to a monitor and connecting a mouse directly to your camera. Again, once your mouse is connected to your camera and your camera is connected to a monitor, you bring your camera control panel menu to the screen by bringing your cursor to the left side of the screen. You can then pin the menu here to capture an image. You click the snap button on the left side of the upper portion of the control panel. Again, you will get a brief notification in the middle of the screen. You can record a video by clicking here. Now to change your auto exposure settings, you can turn on or off your auto exposure by checking and unchecking this button. We are currently in auto exposure mode. When you are in auto exposure mode, you will have the ability to control your exposure compensation by moving this slider. Turn off auto exposure by clicking or unchecking the auto exposure box. You will then have the ability to increase or decrease your exposure time. If you go beyond 30 seconds of exposure time, you could delay your image. A better way to increase your brightness slightly is to increase the gain, which can be done by controlling this slider here. The next portion of the menu is the white balance portion. I am currently in the auto focus mode. We are currently in the auto white balance mode. The camera is adjusting the white balance across the entire image. We can also switch to manual mode. In manual mode, we can change the sliders, or we can move the sliders to change the colors. To increase and decrease your red, green, and blue channels to your desired level. You can also click back into auto mode and it will revert to those settings. You can also click on ROI mode, which is region of interest. It will now white balance based on this region of interest box in the middle of the screen. As you can see, when you move it to green, it's going to produce more of a red. When I move it to black, it's going to produce more of a green. I can also expand that ROI to balance across the entire ROI. And again, you can click back here to click back into auto mode. Typically recommend auto or manual mode for most inspection purposes. Down here towards the bottom of the screen, we now have our sharpness, denoising, saturation, gamma, contrast, brightness. These again are separate video settings or video processing settings. To increase the sharpness, you simply drag your slider to the right, and as you can see, the sharpness of the edges of the part we are seeing starts to increase. You can lower that by moving the slider back to the left. You can denoise by increasing the slider to the right, and it will make your image less static saturation, same as the other menu sliders. You can increase the saturation by dragging your slider to the right. That's going to add more color, or to the left and less color. Gamma can also be adjusted. Similarly, the more gamma we add, the darker the image is going to become. The more we take away, the brighter it is going to become. Contrast, your slider is here. Drag it to the right, your darks become darker. Drag it to the left and your lights become lighter. Brightness is the same. Drag it to the right to increase brightness. Drag it to the left to decrease brightness. These settings here are going to help adjust the camera for different wavelengths of light that are being produced in your environment. Normally, DC works just fine. Sometimes you need to switch to AC 50 Hz or AC 60 Hz. If you notice a rolling pattern on your screen, this will resolve that issue. If you've played with the camera control panel a little too much and you want to go back to default settings, you simply click the default button and that will take you back to factory video settings. To make your camera control panel disappear, you simply unclick the pin, and move your cursor to the righteous.